Hello everyone and welcome back to Arctic Retro. This is the first video I make in 2025, so I just want to say Happy New Year to everyone. 2024 has been a very nice year for me. I think my channel, it hasn't grown that fast. I have passed a little bit over 8,000 subscribers, and I recently noticed that I have had a total of 1 million views, so that's okay. But still, it's a little bit slower growth that I would want, but it's quite difficult to be successful on YouTube, I guess. So this rate, it actually suits me well. So for 2025, I haven't really made any longer term plans. I just make videos as I please, and whatever comes my way, I make a video about. And in this video, I thought I'll check out a couple of modern expansions for some of our beloved old retro computers. Before I continue, I just want to thank my sponsor PCBWay. They made this PCB here for a 1581 floppy disk drive, and they deliver amazing quality and really fast shipping times. Besides PCB manufacturing, they also do 3D printing, and I got this case for the 1581 floppy drive made by PCBWay in amazing good quality. So if you want to have your own PCBs manufactured, then head over to PCBWay.com and check out their services. Likewise, if you need something 3D printed or CNC machined or made some sheet metal, then they have services for that. So thank you PCBWay for supporting my YouTube channel. Besides that, I'm going away in January. I'm leaving for Hong Kong again to meet my fiancée there, and I'll be there for 10 days, so I'm pretty excited about that. Alright, let's get right to it. First, I'm going to take a look at this Dragon machine. It's a Dragon 32. I have shown it before in a video. I haven't actually used it much. It's a fun little machine. Original price here was £85, so that was not a lot. I probably paid more for it now. As you know, besides trying to repair machines and restore them, I also have a small collection of machines now after some years with this. And this one is a very nice one. The Dragon 32 and 64 was a home computer built in the 80s by Dragon Data, and it was built in UK to compete against the likes of Commodore 64 and ZX Spectrum. However, they didn't have a lot of success with that because this machine isn't very capable when it comes to graphics and games. Still, it's a kind of a interesting machine. Only thing I did with this here is I cleaned it up and recapped it in 2021. It has an expansion slot here. It has a printer slot and 2 joystick ports, a tape port, TV out, which is RF only, a reset button there, and here's a monitor which gives some better video output, on off, and this is for the power supply. Kind of strange contact for a power supply. Then again, it's kind of a strange power supply too. I mean, it has holes, mounting holes. I don't know if you're supposed to screw it onto your wall or your desk. So let's hook it up now. First of all, just to see that it still is working. Now, obviously, to use the Dragon with a composite video, you need a special cable for that. I got one here. I bought this on eBay from Retro Computer Shack. And it has a composite video and audio out. And that makes it easy if you have a monitor or a TV with SCART. You can just use an adapter like this. Okay, let's see if it still works. Yes, it does. It boots up immediately. So here you go, copyright 1982 and 1982 by Microsoft, and Microsoft Basic is what's used here. By the way, this machine is very similar to the TRS-80 color computer. I think they're quite compatible as well, both with the hardware and software, if I remember correctly. And this machine has 32 kilobytes of RAM. And the only difference between this and the Dragon 64 is that the 64 has 64K of RAM, I think. But it was quite common to upgrade this machine to 64 kilobytes of RAM to do it yourself back in the day. Obviously, this machine doesn't have any built-in floppy disk drive or anything like that. So what was used back in the day was obviously cassette drives and cassette tapes, and games and software came on tapes. And to test that now in the modern times, it's quite slow and cumbersome. I don't have an original cassette deck for this machine. I don't know if there actually was an original, but you can obviously use whatever kind of cassette player for this, or you can use a modern cassette emulator like this, the SVI CAS. This is quite handy, where you use an SD memory card and you hook it up to the machine like a regular cassette player, and it works quite good. But in this video I thought we'll take a look at something a little bit better than that first of all. Because I recently got this, which is a ROM and disk emulator for the Dragon or the Coco machines. One of the issues with the Dragon 32 was that you couldn't simply hook up a floppy disk drive to it because it doesn't have any built-in DOS or DOS routines or anything. However, you could insert a cartridge, and you could get a cartridge that contains a ROM with the DOS and a floppy disk controller chip on it, and then you could hook up floppy disk drives to it. I have never tested that, obviously, on this machine, but this card utilizes that, and it's a solution for emulating ROM and disk on this machine. It says here Dragon Coco ROM and disk emulator V1.0. It was sent to me from Kjell Sundby here in Norway, and he has made this card, so I'm anxious to try it out. He actually also compiled a micro SD card for it with some software on. I'm not sure what's on it, but he was kind enough to do that. So I haven't really studied the layout or what this board actually contains, but it has a SD card reader. It has an ARM chip there, and just a few other components, a next and a previous button. On the back side there's nothing. There's one jumper there. The chip here is an STM32. That's a well-known microcontroller that's very capable. So the actual card and the design, the layout of this card is made by Kjell Sundby in 2024. However, on this GitHub page mentioned here, I'll link to that in the description, you'll find the actual source code for the firmware that you're going to upload to this chip. This is already done, and I think this header here is just to provide power to this card if you don't want to run it directly from the 5-volt lines of the machine. If you go to the KernalCrash site on GitHub, you'll find information about the Dragon ROM and floppy emulator, and yeah, it seems like the latest update was that it now works on the TANDY color computer. It explains how you can connect up a STM32 directly to the bus of the Dragon machine, and how to connect each pin. So that means you can essentially take a regular STM32 development board, for example, and just connect it up via some way of connecting it to the cartridge port of the machine, and then you should be able to emulate a floppy disk drive and a ROM. And this page on the KernalCrash blog site explains all of this. I'm not gonna go into the technical details here. Yeah, it says here it's based on the MSX floppy and ROM emulator, and later in this video I'll take a look at that as well. It explains how it works and how you're gonna use it. So let's just simply check it out now and see if we can get it to run. So what Kjell Sundby has done is actually take that information and design this card, and he provided all the components and built it for me as well. Very nice. Alright, I'm gonna insert the card. We'll explore it as we go. So the first question is, does it go this way or this way? And yeah, there's a marking there, pin 1. And actually I found a picture of the motherboard online, and it has pin 1 on this side. So yeah, I guess it goes like this. That's also the most natural way to put it in. Oops. There's a lot of technical information about the Dragon machines online, and here's the photo I found. There's pin 1 over there. And yeah, this machine uses the Motorola 6809 CPU. It's kind of a strange, or yeah, special CPU for the 80s machines. Most of them, I think, use the Z80 or the 6502 CPUs, but this one uses the Motorola, and it was quite a capable CPU when it comes to computation compared to the other at that time. The page I have loaded here is the World of Dragon. It's like a wiki page, the Dragon archive. I'm not really sure still if you need to power the card externally or not. I'm taking my chances here that you don't need it. Let's turn it on. Yes, it works. Nice. Yeah, there's some software here. Yeah, it presents a menu with some games. Here we have Starship Chameleon, Rail Runner, Metroids, Logo, Ghost Attack, Doodlebug, Cyrus Chess, Cave Hunter, Cosmic Invaders, DOS Dream, and Bridge Master. Yeah, you can switch pages using the number keys. This is page 2, Amiga Ball, 3. Oh, seems to have a lot of games collections. Tennis, skiing, pinball. I have no idea what's good games on the Dragon, but one thing that caught my eye was the Amiga Ball. Now this machine only has 32 kilobytes of RAM, so probably a lot of stuff will not work. But let's try that Amiga Ball. Okay, it loaded. But how do you run it? So these are ROM files, I think, or some of them are ROM files. So not really sure what to do here. Let's try something else. Yeah, okay. Oh my god, that was terrible. I mean, the audio was on full blast. Yeah, this is obviously a game, but I'm not sure how to play. You need to know the correct keys, or have a joystick, which I don't have. Yeah, and this shows the graphical capabilities of this machine. So why did they select that terrible green background color? I don't understand. But hey, it works. If you press the reset button, it seems that now this ROM is selected, and it then just resets back to that ROM. So to reset it completely, you need to turn off the machine and turn it back on again. But on the help page here it says A to L, select disk and reset. So that indicates that we're selecting a disk image. But what is this VDK files? When you select the VDK files, it just goes into basic, but seems to have some extension Dragon DOS. So maybe that gives you some disk commands then. Yes, I found a manual to Dragon DOS, and there's a dir command, a dir 0. Yeah, that's deadwood bin. Okay. 0 is the device number, and since it only is one device here, it's 0. So how do you load that binary then? Yeah, according to the manual, you type load, then the file name. No, that didn't work. Yeah, it actually loaded. Is that a basic program? Yes, seems to be. Syntax error. Yes, maybe it's too little RAM on this machine. Now I selected that Amiga ball disk, and this contains a lot of basic files. Let's try the load. Yeah, that seems to be working. Moving colors. 0 for color set 0, 1 for color set 1. Press any key to go on. Okay, that's some fractals. Yeah, that's a runner, and then it apparently loads ball.bin into memory and runs some pokes. Yeah, but it just says error in one. But it says here Amiga ball for Dragon 32/64. What if we just load that ourselves? No, that just seems to hang, or else it takes a lot longer than I expected to load that file. Let's try again now with the line 1 deleted. No, syntax error. Okay, let's check out these games collections. Let's try games 11. Okay, that actually booted into a menu. Brewmaster, that sounds interesting. Well, that doesn't look right. So let's try the Color Robot Battle ROM. Okay, some nice audio there. What's this? I have no idea what to do. Let's try another ROM file, G tennis for the TANDY. Maybe that's it. It's not compatible completely. At least it starts. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that works. How do I serve? I have no idea. Sorry. I simply get sick by watching this green screen all the time. Okay, video pinball. Why don't they use enter or space or the cursor keys? No, nothing happens. Oh, there's another color than green. What happened? Yeah, obviously some things don't work. Might be due to the limited memory. There is some kind of speech there. Skiing, but seems to need a joystick. Get ready, get set. Okay, we need to hear that. Okay, I don't have joystick or adapter that actually fits in this machine, so can't do anything with that. Star Blaze from 1983 for the TANDY. Yeah, I can't start that either, but anyway, that was not the point to try and run games and show you the games, only the possibilities, and here seems to be a lot. Yeah, I took out the card. I'm kind of curious to see what's on the memory card, how it is laid out in terms of files. By the way, here's that introduction to Dragon DOS manual I found. Seems to have some configuration and the menu.rom and the dragondos.rom, so Dragon DOS 8K, menu 8K, and then there's a Dragon folder there. So seems like it's just a big folder of different files. Nothing much to it then. On top of the card there is some LED indications, one red and one green. But what are these two buttons for? It says next and previous. Inside the menu nothing happens. I thought that was some navigation in the menu. Maybe you could go from page to page, but that doesn't work apparently. But I noticed one thing: if you select a disk image and you take a directory, you don't have to type 0, that's the default. You see all the files on that disk image. So the last file here was Bandito. Now if I press next button on the card and type dir again, there's other files. So this just has one file, and apparently then with those buttons you just go back and forth between the disk images. What's this then? Always curious to see. Some basic, just a number. Press next again and type dir. There's something else, rally. Just a bunch of data files. So many things don't work. But it seems to have loaded correctly. I mean, the basic, it looks fine. If you have any clue why run doesn't work here, for example. Just says syntax error. Does it need something else to work? Run prog.bin is the last line. So you can use the run command. We can try that. No. Just the same. Fast or slow? Let's select slow. I wasn't aware that this machine had some sort of speech capabilities, but apparently it has. But since I'm unable to run most of the games on this machine with a keyboard, I apparently need to find an adapter or make one myself. Alright, so that was the ROM and disk emulator card for the Dragon machines and the Coco. Now let's try out this one. It's the same but for MSX machines. It says here MSX ROM and disk emulator V1. Same here, this was made by Kjell Sundby in 2024. I haven't tested it yet. Also it came with a preloaded SD card with stuff on it. So let's check it out. So MSX, I really don't have too much experience with that, but I have 3-4 different variants. This is Sanyo, the Wavy 23 MSX2. Now this machine, it just looks amazing. Look at that shape. I cleaned it up before in a video. It has 2 cartridge slots. It has 64 kilobytes of RAM and 128 kilobytes of video RAM. It is a Japanese model. It has Japanese characters on the keyboard. And also it runs on 110 volts. So, or it's actually 100 volt I think in Japan. So I need to use a step down converter for that, because we use 230 volts here. Yeah, it says here AC 100 volts. The thing I did with it in 2022, I took out the battery that was installed and I cleaned it up. Otherwise this should be working perfectly. Yeah, this one it's for stepping down the voltage from 230 down to 110 volts. This machine has RGB output video port, however I don't have that cable, so I only have yeah, just a regular audio video cable for composite video. And then of course I can use the same SCART adapter. Let's see, does it still work? Yes, it does. So that's the familiar blue MSX basic boot screen. Copyright 1985 by Microsoft. I think Microsoft was one of the companies that founded the MSX Foundation, or what do you call it? It's a standard, and all MSX machines are compatible. It was an open standard that any manufacturer could use and produce compatible machines. So on the Dragon we used the same type of card that was actually based on this card, the MSX ROM and disk emulator, and it also uses the same STM ARM-based microcontroller. Yeah, so I guess it's just to put it in this way, I hope, I'm not sure. I'll definitely 3D print some enclosures. Let's see what happens now. Green light. Red light, green light. I just seen season 2 now of the Squid Game 2, and yeah, I'm just irritated that it actually stopped at episode 7 and there's no more episodes for a while. Alright, so this seems to work. It says KernalCrash MSX file selector there. And there's a lot of games. Let's see. Page 1, question mark for help. 1 through 9 for pages, and A through Z for selecting a ROM or DSK file and boot with that. So what do we have here? A lot of games. Bruce Lee, Burger Time, Donkey Kong. This is excellent. Green Beret, Load Runner, Pitfall. Let's run T 1942. And for this one I can use a normal joystick, I mean Atari style joystick. This is a great game. It doesn't run too fast, so I guess this is maybe not the fastest machine. But that's good for me. Oh, and I died. And I loved Bruce Lee back in the day on the C64. I don't think this is the best implementation they could have done on an MSX machine. I mean, the flashing of the sprites or what it is. You wanna mess with me? Yeah, this is a great game. You've seen it before, I'm sure. Same here, if you press the reset button, it resets back to the ROM you selected. If you want to start over from the menu, you need to turn on and off the machine. So maybe one improvement there could be to have a reset button on the card that actually takes it back to the menu. Same here, the buttons on the card doesn't have any effect in the menu. Let's see if we can load something that takes you into basic or something. Maybe these are only cartridge ROMs, I'm not sure. What? No Ghostbuster speech? Yeah, this was also a game I played a lot back in the day on the C64. What happened if you select an empty slot like I? Oh, it just went to the first game. So possible features here, feature request from me is to make it possible to create a new disk image, an empty one, and then you can obviously then boot into that and start using it as a floppy disk drive. I guess I can achieve that if I take out the memory card and create an empty disk image file on that from my PC. No, before I continue, I just want to show you this board here that I also have for the Dragon. And yeah, I actually remembered it now. I had it for a while. So this is the Dragon 200E VDG daughter board version 3. And what this does, actually it replaces the VDG chip, or you put it in place of it, and then you put the VDG I guess that's the graphics chip into this board instead, and you can have an EEPROM here, and that makes it possible to get lowercase fonts on the Dragon, because as it is now it only has uppercase letters. So this should be a fairly easy build. I'm not going to build it now, I don't have the correct components. I need a couple of surface mounted logic chips. I think there's 3 different. Besides that, I think I have what I have, but this will have to come in some other project video sometime later. Now, I just want to mention I got some information from Kjell that created this card, that there's an error on this card, and yeah, that's this trace here. You're supposed to cut it because that's the CPU clock coming into the card. It's tied to ground with this trace, and even though it works on some machines like the one we just tested in other machines it might not work, like Spectra Video MSX machine is one that he said it wouldn't work in. On the machines that it actually does work in, it's because the clock signal there is buffered. So I'm just gonna cut that trace anyway, because it's not supposed to be there. So I just need to make sure there's no continuity between those two. Yeah, and here you see on the screen how it looks on the board layout, what you need to cut. So that seems easy enough. I just use a sharp knife for that. I could use my grinding pen or anything like that, but this should work. Just make a deep cut there. Let's check. Yeah, that's cut. Alright, let me just verify that this card still works. I mean, I have no doubt that it doesn't, but yeah, still want to test it before I put it away. Yeah, I mean, if the CPU clock is tied to ground, then of course the machine won't start at all. Let me take a look at the contents of this SD memory card here as well. Yeah, it's the same. It just has some 2 ROMs, 1 disk ROM, 1 menu ROM, and the MSX folder contains all the games. And as expected, it's all ROM files, but I want to test if I can make a blank disk image on this. Obviously there's several ways you can do that. This page on msx.org describes a few. Yeah, first of all, you could just download a MSX game on a DSK image file and just mount that and then simply format it. But there are also MSX floppy disk manager program here, which you can use, and I actually had it installed from before, probably played with it. So select new. This capacity, we just, yeah, we can make it as 720 kilobytes. Just select MSX DOS boot sector. And there's nothing on it now, so we can just save as and save it directly to the MSX folder. Yeah, there were actually some MSX DSK files there after all. I just call it one empty just so that it appears first. Call it 1A empty to be sure it's first. Yeah, so now we have it here. 1A empty. Insert the memory card back into the card, turn on the machine again, and now it should appear here someplace in the menu. So the file didn't appear first in the list. Maybe it lists the ROM files first. Yeah, there you have it. That's 1A empty DSK. So now we should be able to just select that with B, and it should boot into DOS, and we should be able to do disk operations on that. So let's try with just call format. I think that was the command for formatting. Drive name A and 2 double side. So now with the real floppy disk drive, we would hear the clicking away. This is dead silent, but I guess it takes the same amount of time to format or do other operations. Well, that completed quite fast. Let me make a small program here. I do know more program code in BASIC than this 10 print and 20 go to 10, but yeah, this is what I make now. Stop. So now if we save that, was it save or what was it? I think it was save, and then you specify a colon, file name, file 1. Yes, that worked. And to show the directory, it's cat. No, it's not. No, it's dir. I just googled it and there's a dir command, but apparently it's not that. It's files. Yeah, there it is, file 1, the one I saved. So that worked. Now we can type new, and we don't have a program anymore, and we can load from a colon file 1, and that loaded. Yeah, nice, so that works. I guess then the buttons on the card, you just navigate to the next disk image here as well. So if I press the next now, oh, it actually booted. Yeah, maybe it just loaded a ROM then. Yeah, so that card actually works amazingly well and very simple to use. I mean, there are other solutions as well, but this was quite simple. Just need to make a case for it. Boulder Dash, it's a great game. However, it's a little bit... I don't know if it's the correct colors. Does it only have one color? Maybe there's other versions that's better. No, I just want to print the cartridge case for the MSX. But here on Thingiverse, there's a lot of different ones. I'm not really sure what's the best. Judging by the likes, this one is best, but that doesn't seem to fit with the holes of my card. However, this one seems to fit. Yes, I think it will fit. I'll try to print that one, see how it goes. Yeah, and that download contains several versions. It's with or without the label outline, and it's a thick and thin version. And this one seems to be best if we print it this way with the inside facing up. But still, it's gonna take 4 hours, so I'll see you tomorrow then. So the print came out very nicely. I only printed half the cartridge first in case it doesn't fit. So yes, obviously it doesn't fit. What the heck is this? The holes are not aligned. I don't know if this is some kind of MSX standard. Obviously this cannot be used. I found another model and this looks to be more like it. Printing again. Hope this works. Alright, so this print finished. Does this work any better? Looks kind of nice, but I need to trim off some brim and edges. Yeah, let's see now. No, it's that way. Yes, that looks perfect. So now I just need to print the other side. However, there's an issue with reaching the memory card. Even if I make a hole here, it's going to be hard to take it out. So this isn't really designed for that. But this has a lot of games on it already. I can just fill it up with as much as I can find and then just leave it like that. And I have a cartridge full of games. So the second piece came out really nice as well. There's some cutout for a label around the cartridge case, but I'm not gonna use that. But let's see now. I don't want to make a label. I just made this. Looks nice enough. I marked where I need to drill holes for the buttons. I just did that by adding some paint on the buttons, white paint, and then pushing it down, and then it made a mark. It's a bit of afterwork with these 3D prints. You need to cut off the edges, and there's some support material you need to remove and stuff like that. So, yeah, it seems to fit all right. Maybe it's a little bit high now due to the buttons, but not perfect. Should go into this groove. So the issue seems that the PCB is a tiny little bit thicker than the opening. Just gonna file a little bit. Use a simple file like this. This is not uncommon for 3D models and printing 3D models. Not always perfect dimensions. Materials are different, they shrink and expand differently, and yeah, printers are a little bit different. The accuracy of 3D printing is not very great. Yes, I think that's good enough when I insert the screws. Always a pain to remove support material at the bottom layer. 2 holes has been drilled. Let's see if this fits now. Yes, I think that looks good. A little bit hard to reach the buttons, but I reach them with my nail, even with short nails. Obviously you can replace the buttons with some that's a little bit longer. Only left is to find a couple of screws that fits. These are M3. I only have black screws of these types, so, but I think this fits Obviously it can't be too long, it will go out on the other side. I think these are 12 millimeters. Yeah, they hold up very nicely. The screw holes are recessed, so they are now flush with the plastic case. It might be a good idea to file the edge of the PCB, because it's just squared, so might be difficult to get in on some machines. Yeah, this works very nicely. Now I'm just gonna print the other half of the first cartridge I printed, so that I have a complete one. Alrighty everyone, that was it for this video. I think it was fun to play with Dragon and the MSX machine. So now I'm gonna make a case for the Dragon cartridge as well, if I can find one. Just want to say thanks for watching and hope everyone has a nice 2025, and special thanks to my patrons and my supporters on the YouTube members. See you, bye bye.